Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast where conversations are worth hearing and seeing. You can watch us each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And for more information and past episodes, you can check my website, which is kind of behind me. You can't really see it, but it's blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, coming to you from my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we share positive news and uplifting stories that people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and third country. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce three women who are in an upcoming show at SART, Southern Appalachian Repertory Theater. And they are Amanda Hargen, is it?
Yes.
Amanda Hargen, Susan Pepper, and Judy Rhodes. And thanks, guys, for joining me. You can give a big wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this. So if you're watching this, that's the three of them. And see a wave from Susan. There we go. Okay. Now it's officially on the show. And so what I typically do when I meet people for the first time is to kind of find out a little bit about them. And even though, Amanda, I've had you as a guest on the show one other time, if you could kind of just tell us a little bit about your background in terms of, I guess, theater and how you got to be in this show tonight. And if you can, keep it to under 10 minutes. Okay, if you can.
Oh, I don't know if I can, Blaine. My
Okay.
CV is so long. Um,
Okay.
so I'm an improviser and actor based in Asheville. My first play, which I talked with you about last year, Blaine, was at SART, Stinky Cheese Man. And then I was also in Smoke on the Mountain at SART as well last summer. So this is my third play with SART. I've also done some projects with Dogged Utopia. I was in Tanya and Nancy, the rock opera. I played Oksana Bayul. And I spend most of my time doing improv. So that is long form improv, musical improv, and that is through Misfit Theater. Or rather Misfit School of Improv in Asheville. And we perform all over Asheville at venues like NC Stage, La Zoom, recently the Orange Peel, because there was the big improv fest. But that's what how my entry point into this world of theater was improv. And I've done some stuff with SART.
Now, I've had the pleasure of seeing you a couple of times, I guess, in theater. Are you developing now, or I'll put you on the spot, do you have a preference now, theater or improv?
So I actually think that they inform each other. And so I really want to combine them. I would love to do a format where there's an actor who has memorized one half of a two-person scene, and then there's an improviser, because in improv, it privileges listening and reacting so much. And that's very much a part of theater. Oops, dropped my little earbud. But then theater brings so much in terms of depth and emotion. So I would say I want to put them together and live in the middle of that Venn diagram.
And just to describe it, that'd be a fun thing to see, one person straight theater, one person improv. Anyway, let me jump then, if I can, to Susan. And Susan, same question. First of all, you grew up where? You grew up where?
I was raised in Cincinnati, Ohio,
And when you were
and
raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, did you always know you wanted to be in theater?
I my first play was in the fifth grade, so we're going back a long time. But actually, it was called I Remember Mama, and it was an old-timey play, and I loved going back into that world. And so in this play, I'm also kind of stepping back into an earlier time. Um, I have continued to dabble in theater and kind of multimedia creative forms um, through my work as a traditional singer and performer. So in the early 2000s, I became familiar with the performance of Jean Ritchie and then Sheila K. Adams, and they incorporate a lot of storytelling. It's not just the music, there's this whole frame that the music exists in. Um, and I think because of that, I've always been interested in finding different expressions beyond just the songs themselves to help bring that world alive. So that's kind of my connection to this.
Now, I remember Mama was a film also. Did you ever see the film? The movie?
No, yeah, I had no idea really at that time,
Yeah, really, try to
the
look for it.
context.
I would think you'd love it. But
Yeah.
this for an idea, Judy, Susan, I want to do this sometime. I want everybody to recreate their very first role. In other words, it's a fundraiser. For example, for SART, like your first role. Is there a video or a clip of it anywhere?
Um, my first bigger role was in eighth grade, and I do have a video of that. That was Bye Bye Birdie, but
Okay,
not
cool.
the
But
fifth
not
grade, I don't think.
not for, but wouldn't that be fun? You know, that I think it'd be a great fundraiser. Everybody would go about their very first role. And I remember Mama. So anyway, so you then were acting Bye Bye Birdie. Then you got more into a singing career, or do you do both?
Yeah, more the singing, but again, um, I do things where I have slides of singers behind me while I perform and tell about the stories of women from Western North Carolina who taught me. Um, and then I helped a friend produce a film called The Mountain Miner that also brought the history of the music and the stories um, of hardship and the meaning and fun of the music to life. And I sang in that film as well and had a very small acting role.
Would be very
My kids would joke, you were barely there.
would,
Um,
would be very cool. Have you ever done like a TED talk on this?
no.
Okay, I could see it, or there's another group called Pekka Chuka. I'll send you information on it. It's people give short presentations with slides, so I think it'd be great to see it. But in your spare time, something to work on, in the next life, you'll be developing these talks. And
Yeah.
so now you're primarily a singer. You do these shows, anything locally, or people can find you
Um,
someplace?
Locally, what I mostly do is teach the songs in after school programs, at adult music camps, in the area, um, and then shows at different heritage venues.
Okay, something to look forward to. Now turning to then Judy, same question I asked Susan. As a child, you grew up where, Judy? Now we have to get you're on mute, Judy.
Oh, there I go.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm 11th generation from Western North Carolina on my mother's side and 7th generation on my dad's side. So I own land that's been in the family for a couple of hundred years on both sides of the family.
And
So I'm
so
local.
in terms of Western North Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
Buncombe County and Jackson County.
Okay, so that's you definitely a local. And as a local,
Yes.
in terms of
Go
your
ahead.
performing career, when did that begin?
So my whole family are performers. My dad was a professional musician. He played at the Grand Ole Opry. He was a session guitarist. His name is Woody Rhodes. So if anybody listens to this is a guitarist in the area, they may have heard of Woody Rhodes. He was in the Army Jazz Band during World War II and was pretty well known at some point. He also was band and choral director in local high schools. So I grew up with all kinds of music from my dad's family, all of them musicians, and a lot of professional musicians in different areas on college professors or in orchestras or but dad also sang the ballads. And so I grew up hearing him sing. He would wake me up on Saturday mornings sometimes with the first ballad that we sing in this play. He'd come in on Saturday morning, wake me up at 9 o'clock when I wanted to sing, wake late, awake, awake, you drowsy sleeper. And it's like, oh my gosh, go away. But so that's dad's side. And then mom's side, her brother was Martin Cook of the Inspiration, and he was in the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame. And my granddaddy all of them were incredible singers. I'm also related to some famous ballad singers, like Mary Jane Queen was my grandmother's cousin, and Clarence Ashley from Eastern Tennessee was related on my dad's side. So, I mean, and my granddaddy, I grew up with this. So I studied music. I mean, it was that's everybody is a musician, I thought. So this play, I never had any desire to be in a play ever. And Beverly Austin, the writer of this play, had heard me sing ballads and asked me if I wanted to be in it. And I did immediately. I didn't even have to think about it, because this story is the same story as my family. I mean, my family was not written down in the book or recorded, but it is how I grew up. It's the belief system and the stories of my grandparents and my parents. And so when I'm learning this part, it is heartfelt, part of my grandmother, part of my grandfather, and how they felt about the music. And even the knee to knee thing, my granddaddy would get right in my face and make me repeat the sound like he was making. No, louder, he would say. And then I'd go home and sing that way. And my mom would say, oh, you shouldn't sing that way. That's not the proper way to sing. That's not how you're supposed to sing. And so I have spent my life as a musician. I've taught piano. I have a bachelor's in piano performance and done master's degrees that were about piano and ethnomusicology. I can talk. Then I went to India and performed at the Dalai Lama's World Festival of Sacred Music in April of 2000. And there were 400 musicians there from all over the world doing music from their cultures. And I had gone over there, taken a bunch of boys, a jazz kind of band, the music, and I was singing. And I was so touched by the oral traditions that were represented there, and the dignity and the honor that was given to their cultures. I sat there and I thought, Judy, you're one of the few people in the United States that actually grew up with an oral tradition. You spent your whole life teaching Beethoven and Chopin and Debussy and helping others be performers. You need to go home and start singing the old music that you learned. And so when I came home, I looked up Sheila K. Adams, because she and I had known each other as teenagers. So I said, Sheila, you've got to help me with these songs. So that's how I'm here, and that's how I'm in this play.
And back to your dad and grandfather, did you ever sing or perform with them? We're freezing a little bit. We're freezing a little bit. We're having a little technical difficulties here. So Judy, I want to come back to you. Let me go back to Amanda, if I can.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Well, we'll come back to you.
Oh, we freeze a little bit.
Okay, so Amanda, back to you. If we can get Judy back again. Back to you. In terms of this show, then, how did you find out about it, and how did you get involved in it?
So I found out about it through essentially Beverly. She reached out to me through Janice Vertucci Schreiber and SART because she had seen me in Smoke on the Mountain, and she said, I have this part that I would love for you to play. I'm writing this play about this woman named Mary Sands. And so she sent me the script, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Such a fun opportunity for me to get to learn, because unlike Susan and Judy, I have not been, entrenched, enmeshed in this music and this culture. So it's been a real learning experience, and it's been a real pleasure. to get to learn about Mary Sands and ballad singing.
And if I could turn to Susan, if I can, in terms of the show itself, then, if you could give kind of a Reader's Digest version of the name of the person it's about, but what's the show all about, Susan?
I describe it as an imaginative tribute to the life and contributions of this singer and mountain woman named Mary Sands. She lived from 1872 to 1949. The year is 1916. There's just been a big flood, and a folk music collector is coming to the area to collect old songs that came over from England, Ireland, and Scotland and such. And he spends about 6 days with Mary Sands. And so there's a lot of expectation. Mary is pregnant. She's anticipating meeting with Mr. Sharp. But I say that this is imaginary because, as you can tell, we have three Marys. But this is not chronological. This is Mother Mary, great with child, in a dream, kind of a dream world, having visions with a younger version of herself who's more starting out on her journey, although she's already a fantastic singer, Amanda. And then we have the older version of her, so her future self. And we just have moments of joy, moments of tension between us, moments of informing each other about the different time periods. So it's really imaginary, and I hope and I think that's the strong point of the show, and that was one of the aspects that drew me to it. And it's been a lot to unpack over the past month. There's a lot there to contemplate.
And so back to Judy, if I can, we'll see if we can get you back there. And I think, yeah, there you are muted. Judy, so this a real person, this Mary is?
Yes, Mary Sands.
And had you ever heard of her before?
Yes. She's related to my good friend Sheila K. Adams. So
I thought you want to say because she was your cousin or something, all the family.
Well, she might be.
But no, she's related to a friend of yours. That's really cool. So
Yes.
is that friend local? Is she going to see the show?
Sheila is a someone who's won a lot of awards for ballad singing and banjo playing and storytelling. So she does it as a career, and she's a National Endowment for the Arts Awards winner. So yes, she will be there at the play on our last performance, I believe.
So one of the cool things, Judy, about having you in this show is that with all your family and friends and relatives, SART doesn't have to worry about selling any tickets because they're all going to come just to see you, all the relatives and family. But that's what it sounds like. Will they come to see you think?
Well, there will be some, but so many of them are all over the place now. They're out west. They're, all over the country, like a lot of people are these days.
It's too bad, Judy, and I don't know how the others think as well, but it's too bad shows aren't taped. A very few shows are taped. Because like this show is an example. This is the first time it's being done anywhere. It's a world premiere. Very exciting.
Yes.
And you hope it has legs. You hope somebody else will see it or pick it up. Let me ask you that question, Susan, in terms of your musical background. Is this type of show, do you think that others will want to see in other parts of the country?
I can see an interest in it for sure, especially because it's so specific to Western North Carolina, to Madison County, where it's being shown, at the theater in Mars Hill. But then it also has more universal themes around women and different stages of life and that kind of thing. So And the music is Mary Sands sang amazing songs, and she had amazing versions of these old ballads that people sing here in the mountains. And her versions are some of the ones that Sheila K. Adams and others have been singing for decades and, generations of family. So I think her music is really powerful
You
and
know her
people will,
music, had you known it before the show?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard different versions of some of the songs, so we've tweaked them a little bit to be more true to her versions. Um, But yes, because Sheila K. Adams, who is a descendant of Mary Sands, has been so influential on sort of the repertoire that people sing. And Sheila got a lot of her songs from her relatives who had learned from Mary, and also consulting this book, which is a big thing in the play. There's this book that Cecil Sharp, an Englishman, made. And it featured 23 of her songs, which was a really big deal because there was only one other person in that book who had a few more songs than her featured. So it was like she was a really special, clearly a special singer.
And so I'll ask then, Amanda, in terms of her music, have you been familiar with it at all?
Not even a little bit.
As me either. So what was your reaction to, this is kind of music because you've done shows, you've done other stuff. I assume you hadn't done too much of this kind of music before. Is that true?
Uh, That is accurate. What I have really enjoyed about this music is how narrative it is, how emotional it is, how deep it connects to your soul when you're singing these songs. So I think there's something for everyone listening to these songs, whether you're in it for the Damons or the Wicked Elf Knights, or you're in it for the Resurrections, or you're in it for the connection across generations. And like for example, there's a line in the last song we sang, and when you're on some distant shore, think on your absent friend. And when the wind blows high and clear, a line or two pray send. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't had the experience of being separated from someone that they love and thinking about them and feeling deeply like, oh, just to have a line or two from you, to feel connected to you. So this is my sort of winding way of saying there's just so much to connect to with this music, even if it's not something that you're familiar with. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. You can't see it in Zoom.
Very cool. Well, Judy, you talk about the songs. How many songs are there in this show?
How many songs? I think maybe a 10 or 11. I'm not sure, actually. They're snippets of some songs. So if you counted all of them, it's several. But we don't do the entire song of every single one that we start because some of them have very many verses.
So in terms of the songs that you do, are any of them, do we get to see the three Marys all at one time?
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's probably,
Yes, we trade off verses and sometimes we sing in harmony, which is not typically done on ballads, but we've had some fun doing that. And yeah, I think there's some surprises for everyone.
okay. And so let me ask you then, Susan, in terms of recommending the show, who do you recommend should see this show?
Ballad lovers. I think people who have been here for a long time and people who are new to the area, especially maybe the latter, just as a way to get to connect with
How
some
about
of
a age range? Who's it appropriate for?
honestly, I think all ages. I mean, my 11-year-old will come, and I think
Will
I
11-year-old
think she'll
come?
get a lot out of it as
Will,
well. I think under 11, you can still enjoy the music, but I would say mostly 11 and up would
so
be
the
a good.
11-year-old come on their choice or her mother's choice? You know, that does the 11-year-old like seeing you perform?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think she wants to come. Yeah.
Are you going to get, is she performing now or singing?
Um, a little bit. Yeah. She likes dance.
Okay, because I can see it being like Judy was saying, you know, as a child, bring her into it, but she's going to be performing.
Yeah,
So
as soon as I got this part, she's like, I want to be in it. Can't they just make a fourth Mary?
that's very young. Has she been in anything yet?
Some small shows with our local theater company, but just a little bit.
And back to Amanda, then, in terms of summarizing, the show runs when to when, and how do people get tickets? Amanda, do you have that?
Blaine, yeah, I do. I'm gonna answer your question in just a second. I wanted to piggyback off of something that Susan said.
No.
Um, about this show for kids. I don't think this is giving anything away, but we have shadow puppets. We have some cool narrative visual things
Oh,
happening that I think kids will really get a kick out of. So just throwing that in there.
okay, thanks.
But to get tickets, you'll go to sartplays.com. Our show runs June 11th through June 21st. We have shows on Thursday, so tonight, opening night, Friday, two on Saturday, and one on Sunday. And that's true for both weekends.
Okay. And that, by the way, I always wonder, is that tough to do two shows in one day?
It's a challenge, but I think it's really fun.
And the
And
other,
the show doesn't run too long. It's about 35 minutes. There are two acts that run around 35 minutes with a 15-minute intermission, which is another way that it can work for the whole family. And I just wanted to piggyback off of Amanda. Like, I think part of the point too is to help, share this music and with the hope that people will keep singing. So I do say bring on the youngins as well, because we
one of
would
the
love
things
for them to get inspired.
One of the things inspired me with what you just said, Susan. I like the fact that it's short because as I get older, I like shorter, you know, so that's perfect timing for me. 35-minute half, so that should be good. And Judy, back to you. In terms of after this show is over, any future plans for you? Are you going to be performing elsewhere or any other shows you're going to be in?
Well, like I mentioned before, my main thrust my entire life is to help others be performers. So I've been a coach for bluegrass groups or old time groups, and I had one student years ago went to Broadway. I've had students win music scholarships for college. So now, though, I am more interested in just singing the ballads or mainly singing the ballads. I've done choirs too. And the only regular thing I have right now with singing ballads is once a month. A group of us sing at the hotel in Marshall. And it's the second Wednesday of each month at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8. And there's 10 to 12 of us who come and take turns singing ballads. And it's a lot of fun. And they have great food and beer. And it's fun. But other than that, I would like to have more opportunities to sing the ballads and share stories from the mountains. And I think, people love Asheville and love Western North Carolina. And part of the reason they love it is because of the foundation that they don't really understand, but they can feel it. I feel like people who come here, they feel it. Even though they don't know it. And that's why I'd like for them to come to the play.
So if folks want to find out more information about you or about your shows in Marshall, or you teaching, do you have a website, Facebook page, any best way to reach you?
I do have a Facebook page, and my name is Judy Ann, A-N-N, Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S. And so other than that, I used to have other things, but I need to get more savvy for that again.
Okay, great. And Susan, same two questions for you. Number one, after this show is over, do you have any upcoming things that you're going to be involved in?
In July, I will be teaching at Traditional Song Week at the Swannanoa Gathering on the campus of Warren Wilson College. Um, I love that. I think it's interesting that all three of us are really into teaching. And this is later on, but just a plug, I'll also be at the John C. Campbell Folk School teaching a class in early December, another traditional song class. Um,
Okay.
that is my main, yeah.
Okay, and to find out information about those classes, what's best bet?
I have a website. It's just my name, susanpepper.com.
Okay, great. So you want to find out more information about those and your teaching, check that out. And then the last question for you, in terms of first of all, after this show, do you have anything on the books?
I do. July 18th, actually, let me back up. July 11th, I'm performing at the Mars Hill Gallery, some improv with my duo partner, Matt Piken. We are called the Charm Offensive. So that's July 11th, Mars Hill Gallery. July 18th, I will be performing at Asheville Community Theater with an improvised musical group with a full band. We make up new lyrics to top 40 hits from the 90s. We are called Mixtape. And let me back up. June 28th, I will be at NC Stage performing some long form improv. I'm all over the place, Blaine.
Okay. So keep people safe. And last question, if folks want to track you down or find out about these shows, what's the best bet?
Misfitimprov.com.
Okay, great. Anyway, I'd like to thank all three of you for being my guests on this edition of Blaine's World show. Be amazing in the show starting tonight, and look forward to seeing you. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Blaine.
Be well.
Thank you, Blaine.